same day that millions of New Yorkers are celebrating a tree lighting. I mean, that's just too far for me, a bridge too far. The loving and tolerant left is at it again, Piers.
Yeah, Taylor, I don't mean to be rude, but why the fuck are you laughing all the time? I don't get it.
What's happening, everybody? Tomi Lahren and Taylor Lorenz recently joined the panel on Piers Morgan Uncensored. The topic of discussion was the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Tomi Lahren and Piers Morgan were mortified when Taylor Lorenz said she felt joy about his death. Yeah, she said that. With that, let's watch Tomi Lahren and Piers Morgan continuously destroy the frontrunner for Bitch of the Year, Taylor Lorenz. Let's go.
And then you later commented when people were giving you a lot of blowback. I'm not alone, you said. Healthcare executive down with party balloons was on an Exposed that you commented on. Why would you be in such a celebratory mood about the execution of another human being? Aren't you supposed to be on the caring, sharing left where, you know, you believe in the sanctity of life?
I do believe in the sanctity of life. And I think that's why I felt, along with so many other Americans, joy, unfortunately, you know, because it feels like...
Serious?
I mean...
Joy in a man's execution?
Maybe not joy, but certainly not empathy. Because again,
we're watching the footage. How can this make you joyful? This guy's a husband, he's a father, and he's being gunned down in the middle of Manhattan. Why does that make you joyful?
Of Americans that being murdered. So are the tens of thousands of Americans, innocent Americans, who died because greedy health insurance executives like this one push policies of denying care to the most vulnerable people. And the many millions of Americans that have watched people that I care about suffer and in some cases die because of lack of health care.
So should they all be killed then? Should they all be killed, these healthcare executives? Would that make you even more joyful?
No, that would not.
But why not?
And,
why are you laughing?
I think because it wouldn't fix the
You seem
system.
to find the whole thing hilarious.
I find your question funny.
A bloke's been murdered in the street. I don't find it funny at all.
I don't find it funny that tens of thousands of Americans die every year and because they are denied life-saving health care from people like the CEO. Now, I want to fix the system. You're right. We shouldn't be going around shooting each other with vigilante justice. No. I think that it is...
You just figured that out, Taylor? That we shouldn't run around killing one another? Took you, what, 2 minutes into an interview to realize that maybe your answer was a little extreme? And then Piers' question is funny to her. She's giggling because it's such a silly question when he said, should we just kill all the healthcare executives? Oh, no. Well, you're excited about it, so obviously you think it's a means to an end of some kind. She's bad, guys. But instead of me talking, let's just watch her continue to dig a deeper hole.
Is a good thing that this murder has led to America, or really the media elites and politicians in this country paying attention to this issue for the first time. You mentioned you couldn't understand why somebody would feel this reaction when they watched a CEO die. It's because you have not dealt, it sounds like, with the American healthcare system in the way that millions of other Americans have.
I've dealt with the healthcare system in various ways in America. I don't think it's perfect by any means, but the idea that I would view it as something...
Have you been denied life-saving treatment?
The idea that I would view it as something joyful that a man has been, who's just a healthcare executive, has been executed in the street, I find completely bizarre. Let me bring in Tomi here. Yeah. Tomi, you know, I keep being told... Hang on, Taylor, I'll come back to you.
Okay, Tomi, don't say I'm joyful. I said
you said you were feeling joyful.
Yeah, I take that back. Joyful is the wrong word, Piers.
You think?
I said, as I clarified,
you think?
Yeah.
You think joyful is the wrong word? Yeah,
sure,
I'd say it is.
Vindicated, celebratory, because again, it feels like justice in this system when somebody responsible for the deaths of tens of thousands of Americans suffers the same fate as those tens of thousands of Americans who he murdered or
Tomi, whether Taylor wants to retract the word joyful or not, we all heard her say it, and I was just shocked. I mean, I find that kind of response utterly shocking, that someone could be murdered in the middle of Manhattan, who happens to be an executive for a healthcare company, and people think this is something that makes them feel joyful.
Yeah, this is still the remnants of the incredibly bratty Occupy Wall Street movement that's morphed into 100 other movements by now, all equally as disgusting. But to celebrate the murder of a husband and a father simply because you disagree with his position at a company, or you disagree with the company, or you disagree with the system of healthcare that we have in the U.S. is quite frankly sick, twisted, and disgusting. Why you'd celebrate anybody's murder, especially just an innocent man who you happen to disagree with, is really shocking to me. But it also just goes to show that the left and many on the left have a tendency to believe that violence like this, political violence, is necessary. It's a means to an end. And if they believe in the end and they believe in the means, it's really sick and wrong. If you want to have a conversation about healthcare in this country, that's fine. Let's have that all day long. But to be joyful, or even to say you're not empathetic about somebody losing their life when they leave behind two young boys, especially during the holiday season, the same day that millions of New Yorkers are celebrating a tree lighting, I mean, that's just too far for me, a bridge too far. The loving and tolerant left is at it again, Piers.
Yeah, Taylor, I don't mean to be rude, but why the fuck are you laughing all the time? I don't get it.
You know, my most loyal fan to this channel is my mother. And early on when I was doing this, she said, do you have to say the F word all the time? Because I was a little more liberal with it back then. And I thought about it, and that's not the look I really want. You know, I don't use it in my personal life all that much. But Mom, this is for you. When Piers right there just said, why the F are you laughing right now? That's an appropriate time to use the F word. So I think everyone else can probably relate to that too. So I would imagine there are people out there that think my rhetoric is a little extreme sometimes when I just say that the left is filled with some people that are really, really hateful and dark and evil. This is a good example of why I say those things, and I mean them. And I think I always throw in the caveat, I'm not talking about your average voter. I'm talking about media elites, politicians, party leaders. So let's think about this. The death of a healthcare CEO, a father and husband, at worst makes Taylor Lorenz happy, and at best doesn't bother her. That's not the headline to her. To her, it means that people will start talking more about the problems with the American healthcare system. Well, you know, in her defense, healthcare is a topic we rarely bring up in this country. What's she talking about? We talk about it all the time. There are a lot of problems with our healthcare system, but there are a lot of really great things about our healthcare system too. And let's be very, very clear. While this statement of hers is unforgivable, this isn't some chick that just made a mistake one time and kind of misspoke, and now people are jumping all over her. Let's not forget a little bit of her past history. So almost any picture you see of her in public anywhere, she's wearing a mask to this day. Now, she claims, and I'll take her to word, I don't know why I would, but I will, that she has an autoimmune disease. Fair enough, fair enough. However, she made a statement on Twitter in an article the other day that anyone who's not wearing a mask is raw dogging the air. For those who aspire to be a liberal nut job, this is a crash course in how to tell me you're a liberal nut job without telling me you're a liberal nut job. I can't tell you. I mean, just look her up online. She wears a mask in like the middle of the Mojave Desert with 30 miles of desert around her on every side. Like, your autoimmune disease, I don't think is going to be affected when there's no one around you. Just, I mean, seriously, she wears it everywhere and then shames us for not wearing a mask. So if she does in fact have an autoimmune disease, I'm not being heartless, wear your mask. But the rest of us, we've already been through a time where we were told, even though we knew better, that we had to wear a mask all the time. So do what's best for you. We'll do what's best for us. All right, Taylor? She's also lazy and she's a liar. She wrote some article in 2022 about content creators profiting off the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial at the time. And she was just talking about channels kind of like mine that just, react to things. The only problem was in the article, she said that she had reached out to a couple of YouTubers that she specifically mentioned in her story for comment, and that never happened. So she lied about it, and she was too lazy to just shoot an email or make a call to somebody. But it doesn't end there. She's also immoral. Most of you probably know there's a very, very popular account on X called Libs of TikTok. And they just post TikToks from crazy liberals doing crazy things, which, if you're like me, you enjoy very much. What she decided to do was dox that person. So when I say she's immoral because she clearly doesn't care about the safety of anyone else, because now everyone has this person's phone number, name, address, and can do whatever they will to them and their family. Not good. Then she had the audacity, when Elon Musk took over Twitter and made it X, she had the audacity to be pissy about the fact that he temporarily suspended her account for quote unquote prior doxing. She tried to claim that Elon Musk was taking revenge on her for not commenting on a story she asked him to comment for. Really, you think Elon Musk has the time to be that petty about you asking him for a comment on a story? Don't think it could have anything to do with exactly what he said it's about, doxing. This chick is just really, really awful. Anyway, I'll get back to the video.
Sorry, apologies for my language, but honestly, I find it unbelievable. What are you laughing at?
I am laughing at Tommy's insane mischaracterization of why people are angry. It has nothing to do with Occupy Wall Street. This is a feeling that people feel across the left and the right. You mentioned Ben Shapiro earlier in his video about the healthcare exec. I encourage people to check the comment section on that video, okay? 100% of America is united on this, or rather the majority of America is united on this. We do not think that this healthcare system that is murdering, again, thousands of innocent Americans, who, by the way, Tommy, also have families, also have children. These people are being killed by our barbaric and evil for-profit healthcare system. And I agree, we should not necessarily go around shooting people in the street. And while I am joyful that this issue has been brought to attention—
Did you hear that, Piers? Not necessarily.
It's just unbelievable.
They shouldn't be shot in the streets. They shouldn't be shot in the streets because, again, it doesn't solve the systemic problem. You could United Healthcare will just appoint a new ghoulish CEO. The point is that we need to fix these systems so that, again, people like Brian or whoever's in charge of these companies stops murdering tens of thousands of innocent Americans. That is the crime. Let me bring him.
So one of Taylor Loren's defining characteristic is being a liar. She's not even good at that. When she said, I don't think we should necessarily be going around shooting people, she was trying to lie there and cover up her real feelings, which she realized everyone was outraged at. But her true colors still showed. Like, I don't know a person alive that wouldn't be like, murder's never acceptable for anything. She said, I don't think we should necessarily. And then after called on it, I mean, that's how, this is a true leftist crazy person. But you can always trust her reporting. I mean, she told us 100% of America is united on this. So what are you going to do? I guess we got to start listening to Taylor here. So what are you guys' thoughts on this? I don't think there will be much discussion about Taylor other than how awful she is. So there's not really a question there. But if we want to get a conversation in the comments going about the healthcare system, what's good about it, what's bad about it, I certainly have my feelings on it. I'm sure it'll come up in another video. But anyway, that's it for this video. If you like hearing leftist nut jobs say insane things that frustrate the heck out of you, then click on one of the two videos that just popped up on your screen. Otherwise, as always, I really, really appreciate you all watching. The end.